Nearly all of Nebraska's winter wheat is now emerged, with 55% rated good to excellent. According to the USDA's latest progress report, 12% is rated poor to very poor. The crop faced unusual weather last month. Nebraska experienced its 7th warmest October on record. It also saw temperatures during the first week of November that were 8 to 16 degrees above normal. A problem now for plants? Nebraska Extension plant pathologists say rust has developed. On Tuesday, we spoke with Stephen Wegulo at UNL's fields on the northeast corner of Lincoln and asked how prevalent rust had become.
Well, we have seen stripe rust in the panhandle of Nebraska. This was reported just last week. And we have also confirmed leaf rust in south central Nebraska. And I have had reports of leaf rust, or stripe rust as well in south central Nebraska.
How common is it to develop before wheat enters dormancy?
Well, it can develop to a significant level depending on how long we are going to have these above normal temperatures. So the above normal temperatures in the fall are favorable for the rust diseases to reproduce on the newly planted wheat. And these rusts have over-summered on volunteer wheat. And actually, there are some grassy weeds too that we just found out this year that stripe rust can over-summer on. For example, jointed goat grass is a host of stripe rust. So we have some grassy weeds, and then we have volunteer wheat. And because we had a lot of rust earlier in the season, it over-summered on these hosts. And now it's moving on to the newly planted wheat in the fall.
Is it important to differentiate what type of rust it is? Is that important at all?
It is important because stripe rust will form yellow stripes. Actually, on very young wheat, like what we have now, you may not see stripes. You may just see a loose cloud of spores on the surface of the leaf. But as the wheat matures with the older leaves, and then you start seeing stripes, but they are yellow, and that's what you look for, the yellow color of yellow pustules. With leaf rust, it will form brick red or reddish rust-looking random pustules on the leaves, and that's how to distinguish the two. You cannot miss them. One is yellow, the other one is brown reddish.
So the two-part question, is treatment recommended? The follow-up is, what do we know about what kind of damage it does to the crop at this time of year?
We are having a very unusual pattern of weather, and so this unusually warm weather is posing challenges that we have not faced before. If your field is, so what we are recommending right now is get out and scout your field, even if it's still in the fall. We usually recommend scouting in the spring, but given what we are seeing, scout right now just to make sure there is no rust in your field. If there is rust in your field, then if it's just very little rust, it's not widespread within the field, you don't need to do anything. Don't spray. If you see a lot of rust widespread in the field, you are seeing 20, 30, 35% of the leaves covered with rust, then consider spraying fungicide. At this time, because of the low price of wheat, we recommend a generic which will cost a lot less than a brand name fungicide. And so a very good generic is generic Folicure, which is excellent on rust. And if you see a significant amount of rust widespread in your field, you'll be better off to actually spray to stop it for two reasons. One, if this weather continues and it continues to destroy the leaves, then the plants are not going to store enough nutrients which they will need when they break dormancy in the spring. And secondly, when you see rust right now, the chances are that the mycelium will go into the crown of the wheat plant and then overwinter. That raises the risk for rust next spring, so that you might start seeing rust very early in the spring like we did earlier this year. And when that happens, it does a lot more damage than if it arrives, the normal time, which would be mid-April for stripe rust and mid-May for leaf rust.
You can find more about rust issues in Nebraska's winter wheat in a recent Crop Watch article. We've linked to that on the Market Journal website.